This video is brought to you by Surfshark. Stick around to hear more later on about the services they offer and the massive discount that they're giving to our community. Okay, so this one took me entirely too long. I am required to say in this video that Microsoft gave me a copy of Gears Tactics for free so that I could do an early review, which didn't happen, but I think I'm still required to say that they gave me a copy, so I will anyways. There's a bunch of reasons, none of which are particularly important, but the bottom line is I did not get the review done for launch day, and then because of that, I didn't get it done for a bunch more days after that. Even worse, I still haven't finished the game, so this is an impressions video, not an actual review. That might seem strange or absurd given how long it's been, but I've been playing a ton of other games simultaneously. Gordian Quest, Deep Sky Derelicts, Erratus Lord of the Dead, For the King, Slay the Spire, Northgard, and a space RTS in alpha testing called Falling Frontier. Basically, I'm in indie gaming heaven right now, so I've been a bit distracted. All that said, I actually love Gears Tactics, and I think it's an excellent game that is well worth attention and praise. It helps that I'm a fan already of turn-based strategy games, but fresh off the heels of Phoenix Point, and having been honestly really disappointed with it, I was looking for a turn-based title that really would win me back over and remind me why I love the genre so much. Gears Tactics is that game, and I'm thrilled to say so. The primary marketing material I saw regarding this game typically used wording like fast-paced, turn-based combat, and at first this kinda had me on edge. Seems like a really contradictory statement. Fast-paced but turn-based in the same sentence, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. However, when I really dove in, it started to make a lot of sense. Gears of War and top-down turn-based cover gameplay on a surface level seem like they are worlds apart, like they have nothing to do with each other. But when really considering how standard Gears of War gameplay already functions, the difference is not nearly so drastic. Gears of War, as an overarching franchise, already sees a player heavily utilizing cover. Even real-time third-person combat in high-level Gears of War multiplayer starts to revolve around positioning and timing more so than reflex accuracy. And witnessing the transition from a hectic freeform shooter to a structured turn-based arena, it didn't really feel alien or uncomfortable. It honestly made me feel at home. This by itself already softens the blow of genre transition for existing Gears of War fans who might never have tried a turn-based strategy game before in their entire lives, but it goes even further. Setting aside lore, story, and progression, which I'll get to in a moment and discuss those things, the fast-paced turn-based combat legitimately affects your experience and remedies what I can only describe as one of the worst fundamental gameplay issues I have ever had with any turn-based video game. Now, on the topic of remedying severe issues, Surfshark has come in pretty clutch for me these past few months. Most of you have probably already heard of a VPN and know exactly what it does already, but in case you haven't, a VPN is basically an added layer of security that also lets you change your geographic location. Among other things, they are honestly pretty useful. The ability to jump between regional servers not only protects you better online, privacy, security, etc., it also lets you see additional Netflix shows and movies, among many other things, which might not be available in your country due to various licensing agreements, or even avoid things like internet censorship in certain countries. Surfshark had previously partnered with the channel for a pretty hefty bonus, but now they have increased that further and are awarding 85% off with 3 months free when you sign up below using the upper echelon link. They also provide value in the form of unlimited devices. One subscription does not lock you out with just 3 or 4 separate instances like many other services do. You can use the single account that you purchase wherever and whenever you want to. Again, sign up with the link below to earn 3 months free and also an 85% discount on your subscription. Thank you again to Surfshark for sponsoring the channel and also having extremely consumer-friendly services. Back to Gears Tactics. Essentially, the main issue for me with other turn-based games that this game does an excellent job at mitigating is that I don't buy a video game to watch it play without me. This might be a combination of slight ADHD, it might be impatience, or a self-centered mindset, I don't know, but I absolutely despise watching a game unfold without being able to control at least some aspect of the events. This is not as true of turn-based player versus player games. That's a whole separate topic because I know at the other end is a living, breathing player just like me who also wants to control the scenario. However, in situations where I battle a computer-based opponent, witnessing lengthy stretches of time where they are executing actions but I am not allowed to is something I have hated, absolutely hated, since the moment I discovered video games. That may seem slightly nonsensical, so let me explain. I understand that actions must be taken by the opponent in a turn-based game. Obviously, that's inevitable. I have my turn, they have theirs, etc. But when those actions take a long stretch of time, that's not why I play a game. I am not here to watch a minute and a half of the computer slowly repositioning its minions across the map, or stare at the blank fog of war while I can only guess some sort of enemy executes an action beneath it. This has been an issue in all too many games as of late. Something like Darkest Dungeon, despite being one of my all-time favorite games in existence, it truly is, infuriates me to no end when the enemy forces you to watch for a minute and a half as they take 9 consecutive actions and wipe out your squad, or buff each other 8 times in a row before you can finally do something yourself again. This was horrible in Phoenix Point, the most recent turn-based game that I played with similar combat to Gears Tactics, and each enemy would slowly do whatever they were programmed to do while I spent less time playing and choosing my own actions than I did watching the enemy AI perform often completely useless and uninteresting turns. Gears Tactics has taken like 15 steps forward in solving this. First, the game operates on an action point system with a multitude of ways to gain additional action points or award them to allies. This means on a well-executed turn, and it's complicated to do, but it is doable, with certain buffs aligning at the same time, you could shoot 3 times, reload, throw a grenade, then perform an Overwatch guard, and even get a chainsaw kill in the middle on top of all of it. Where many games feel like a careful choice between 4 desirable actions, only having the ability to choose one at a time, Gears Tactics feels like a choice between 8 or 10 options that are situational with the ability to do a bunch of them over and over, making your turn always seem more impactful and engaging than the enemy turns. This would already be great by itself, but it goes even further. Enemy clusters can move simultaneously, so can your own units, but that's a little harder to do and a lot more situational. When 8 or 12 wretches and drones drop onto the battlefield, they will take individual turns if it involves your units in some way, such as damaging them or executing them. But if they are just walking forward 3 steps and setting up their own Overwatch pattern or something menial like that, they will often operate simultaneously. This quite literally reduces the duration of enemy turns by minutes in some scenarios and embodies the statement fast-paced turn-based combat. It is wonderful, engaging, and a significant improvement over some competing titles. When you combine this increased feeling of power without actually being stronger than the opposing forces, sometimes they will have way more units on the field, executing way more actions, but because they eliminated the garbage waiting time, where you just follow each one over and over, even when they are doing an entirely useless task or action, Gears Tactics achieves a constant sense of power and importance for your own squad without sacrificing balance, and that is honestly extremely impressive. For sound and visuals, I am also happily impressed. The visceral sounds are nothing less than you would expect from a fully developed Gears of War game, and the visuals are on par with anything else you will find in the turn-based category. It's a dark, dreary, and oppressive apocalyptic world, just like Gears should be, so keep that in mind, but it felt like it had done justice to the name and lived up to what is expected from a Gears of War game. Progression is yet another aspect I found myself getting hooked on. I will say that the menus kinda suck. It's tedious navigating through 4 or 5 submenus just to equip a new item mod or a skin for a weapon, and early on, before you really get a feel for the system, you might even get lost in the menus and not really understand how to navigate them. Or maybe that was just me, I don't know. I didn't really like the menus, that's what I'm trying to say, but the actual effects of these mods and gear pieces are fairly diverse and powerful. The power does not come from individual items so much, though some of them do have excellent skills attached to them. The power seems to come from matching various bonuses and constructing actual builds. Yes, builds are a thing in this game, and some can be really interesting and powerful. My history with the concept of gear and character builds goes way back to the root of the channel itself, with the original Division game, so seeing that here as well, it checks a lot of boxes for me and makes it very easy to praise the game. An added bonus is that acquiring new squad members will automatically level them to a rank similar to those you already have, and this means that there is a slightly less defined sense of attachment to some of them, but makes it much easier to experiment with unique build styles and adds a lot of value to the actual gameplay. Story-wise, it's not an area I should speak about all that much, considering I haven't actually finished it yet, but I feel it necessary to state that unless there is some kind of colossal twist at the end that just spits in my face for no reason at all, I don't think I will come away from the campaign thinking anything overly positive or overly negative. I'm feeling somewhat neutral on the story right now. Good, not great, but certainly nothing to get in the way of what is otherwise a set of extremely engaging customization and progression options. Gear acquisition, however, it can be annoying. The way you find new items to equip on your characters is through in-level chests. These chests come in various rarities and spawn throughout the various maps, but sometimes getting them can be a chore and break up the flow of the game, or be a severe risk on top of that. Now, it's fair that these crates, when they are rare and valuable, be accompanied by a risk of some kind, obviously, but I had a few annoying levels where they would actually just cause me to die with very little recourse if I attempted to grab them, and the squad mate who had tried would then get executed, ending the entire level in some situations. This was infrequent and certainly not worth harping on, but it did happen, so I thought it was worth mentioning. There are also a few timed missions, which normally I find to be infuriating in other titles, because they confine you to a certain number of turns, which may be completely against your typical playstyle. But so far, and so far is an important word here, because there might be some bad ones right around the corner, I don't know. But so far, they are generous and non-invasive. They provide pressure, yes, but not in a way that has ruined any levels. Overall, the level design has been pretty diverse in my hours logged. Collect the supplies, rescue the prisoners, open the gate, eliminate the hostiles, destroy this, that, or the other thing, etc., etc. Standard stuff, honestly. But one small thing that made me rather happy was when I had collected all the supplies from a certain map, for example, I did not need to run to an extraction point across the map for 3, consecutive turns. It just collected my men and brought me home, and I had won the mission. There are some maps and scenarios where you do need to get to a specific extraction point, but yet again, in a fast-paced way. It's not this guaranteed tedium at the end of most or all missions when all or most of the enemies are gone and you just have to trek to wherever the exit point happens to be. Overall, my impressions thus far are extremely positive. I am enjoying Gears Tactics thoroughly, and I kind of always suspected I would like it, but not this much. The marketing material is oddly accurate in this particular case, as the game projects an atmosphere that leads you to fully understand why they advertised it in such a way. Fast-paced, turn-based, it shouldn't make sense, but it does. And that alone is a point that diverges from industry norms, at least lately in today's climate. I would highly recommend Gears Tactics for fans of the series who have an interest in turn-based combat that has largely improved on the failings of certain predecessors. It's a hefty purchase, not to be taken lightly at all, and I'm not sure if I would have made that purchase ever myself if Microsoft had not given me a review copy, but having now played it, knowing what I do at this point in time, I would absolutely have done so without a doubt. So I would encourage anyone watching to first watch some other reviews, maybe seek out someone who hated the game just to see what they bring up, what criticisms they bring to light, but also keep an open mind because the game is fun and in my eyes deserving of consideration. That's it for today. I probably won't do a full review once I'm done with it because my library of games is so damn big right now anyways, I have no idea how to get through them all. But I'll consider it if and when that time comes. If you want to support, there are links down below, merch, Patreon, Twitter, also Surfshark with a hefty discount, another gaming YouTuber to support as well, but I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching and have a nice night.